Okay, well that's pretty good. Thank you for coming. Yesterday, as you all know, because I constantly hawk it, I run a class 2 days prior to all of these classes. And in the class, I always ask them, what can I make tomorrow? Because I have to come up with 3 things to make here. And they looked at me dumbfounded. No offense. But I went in the back on our food shelves and I saw that I had a case of number 10 cans of crushed pineapple. So that's what you're getting today. You're getting pineapple. And we'll start with, none of this I've made before. So we're all rowing blindly upstream here. We'll start with sherbet, pineapple sherbet, okay? The recipe for all sherbets is usually 3-2-1. 3 quarts of water, 2 pounds of sugar, 1 quart of ice cream mix. That's universally a given for sherbet. So in thinking about that, I have my 2 pounds of sugar, but in thinking about the water, it's 3 quarts of water. And I noticed that this comes in all natural juice, the crushed pineapple. So what I thought was, why not use the juice as part of the water? Just pick up some more of the flavor. So, this isn't going to work. Talia, come here, hold that. Okay, we're going to separate the wheat from the chaff here.
You got this.
Of course we do. There we go. Good job, thank you. So we're still going to go with 3-2-1. 3 quarts of liquid, 2 pounds of sugar, and 1 quart of ice cream mix, which is the dairy part. Now, let's see if we can hurry up this process. You notice he deserts the ship when it's time to do the work, right? We're left here all alone to do everything. Any questions about anything? Come on, have us. Oh, perfect. See, I told you, he was working. Just a little humor at your expense, of course.
Yes, I expected as much. You know, I have cameras everywhere.
I know that. And microphones.
And microphones.
Okay, so that's pretty good. So we have pretty much our pineapple, and we've separated what they call the all-natural juice, which we know is a lie, but it'll do. Now what we have to do is measure how much liquid we have, add to it to get our, how many quarts? 3. Come on now, not 2, 3. Okay. All right, let's do that. So we have 1. So we'll add 2 more. All right, that's about 3 quarts, maybe a little more. I always like things a little sweeter and a little more flavorful than most people, I guess, in the business. So because we've never made this, we'll test as we go along. Did you just put this right at my feet?
I did, so you could trip over it and find it.
We'll mix the sugar in with the water. even though I don't really do that in my store. I just throw it in the machine, as you know. But because Steve's the boss here and he says to do it, we'll do it. Three quarts of water, 2 pounds of sugar, and 1 quart of mix. 3-2-1. And 3-2-1, like Steve said before, will work for anything. How many different flavors could we make out of this? A gazillion. Right? A gazillion. Yeah, you can make a gazillion. Okay, so there goes our water and sugar. And what else? Oh, I thought, yeah, we have crushed pineapple left, but I also thought, as we taste it, I bought some pineapple juice concentrate, like FCOJ. What is it called? FCOJ, frozen concentrated orange juice. This is frozen concentrated pineapple juice. They're awfully quiet out there, you know.
They're enthralled by every word, Jeff.
I don't think so. So we'll add a little of this. Eek. A little more maybe than we should have, but okay. And now it's time we'll add some chunks, or what do they call this? They call this chunks? Crushed. Okay, we'll add some crushed. We'll fire it up. And then we'll have to taste it because this is a new thing, so we might have to add a little more of this or that. Like how much of this, I don't know. But you can't add too much of this, right? It'll just, right, Mike? Flying by the seat of our pants, huh? So say when.
Jeff is of the too much is never enough school.
Correct. Too much is never enough. 35. 35. Right. Everybody but you was in my class.
Where were you?
I keep the classes small because I really want them to leave knowing everything there is to know. So usually we're around 8. That's it. What? Oh, way too much to
How much?
divulge
The
now.
question, because they can't hear it on the mics. How much does Jeff's class cost?
$9.95. So for $10, you're in.
It's in the other freezer.
But I'll tell you, was it worth it?
Yeah.
So we'll taste it now that it's all mixed up. I did notice there's a little sugar left in here that didn't dissolve, and I want to add that. So we'll just take a little. And we'll smush it around and then add it back in. Waste not, want not. Okay, taste it, taste it. What'd we forget?
The mix?
Ice cream mix.
I was waiting.
What'd we say, a quart? 1 quart.
I'm not the only one who forgets things in formulas.
1 quart, oh, I didn't forget, I'm testing them.
Yeah.
1 quart. These, by the way, are bladders. This is how the ice cream mix comes from the dairy. Usually 2 of these in one box, and that's one case. There's 10 quarts in each one of these. If I drop this now, class is over, and it's 4 hours cleaning this stuff up. This is tough. And you'll drop it, but only once. I did only once in my 8 years. So we're going to go for a quart. If we add a little more than a quart, it won't water anything down. It'll just make it creamier. But since this is sherbet, I think we're okay. Now we'll test it. Don't do this. Can't have too much flavor, can you?
Never, never, never too much. Kahlua, property of Paula Thompson. Do not touch. Well, I got plans for that.
We got one more. And what are we going to make? That. Okay, we got one. Let's add a little more pineapple.
Good.
Good, right?
Yes, we love more flavor.
Pineapple, good.
Jeff, they're telling jokes behind our back.
As long as they're laughing, we're okay. Might as well add it all, right?
Now, one little thing you want to do while Jeff is doing this in the future, when you're making ice cream or ices or anything else like that, he keeps adding more and more and more stuff. When he finally finishes it and you taste it and you say it's fantastic, the best it's ever been, does he know what he put in there? So write down, and you'll all make that mistake, write down what it is you put in so that you can duplicate
I know
this.
exactly what's in there.
I know, your mind is like a steel trap, you just can't get it to close.
If you're writing this down, we have 1 number 10 can of crushed pineapple, 3 quarts of liquid, 1 quart of mix, and the pineapple. That's all. Oh, 2 pounds of sugar, right. And that's it. Kind of easy. But he's right. We do write down as we go along. We made something brand new. By the way,
Freeze it?
yeah, a shout out to Rod Oringer,
Yes.
who owns iRice and Company.
Well, he doesn't own it, but he is the big honcho there.
The big honcho at iRice. He sent me a product that we tried yesterday, and it was terrific. It's a Bavarian custard base, and we made a vanilla velvet ice cream that is just ridiculous from using that. A few other things, which well, $5 a piece, I'll tell you. And now we'll put on the refrigeration. You can hear it. You hear the compressor? Big deal. All right.
I just happen to have it here. Just so you know, Jeff and I aren't here to promote products or anything else like that. What we're here to do is promote great ice cream. We want you to be incredibly successful.
And the business.
So when we find something great, we tell you about it. And that's the product. Can you zoom in on that, Jack?
It's pretty much egg yolks.
It's the first ingredient in here is egg yolks.
And they're pasteurized egg yolks so that you can freely add it to your ice cream, making pretty much a custard out of your ice cream. Custard's fantastic. If any of you have had custard along the boardwalk or or anywhere else. And this is terrific. And Steve actually made something good with it last month.
Yeah,
And
well,
so I called Rob and I said, hey, freebies, you know? And he sent them to me and we used it. And boy, it was easy and good.
the reason he said it like that is he thinks I'm incapable of making a good product. And so the actually good was the buzzwords there. I went up to New York to see an eye doctor, and I didn't want to wait. This is a little trick for you folks. If you've got a specialist to go see or any appointment that you have, bring ice cream. It'll get you right in. But bring the ice cream in the when you go up to the receptionist and you're checking in and they say, go sit with the other 300 people, we'll get to you in 2 days, you go, I've got ice cream. Oh, and look, it's melting. You know, and you'll hold on. Oh, no, I'll give it to the doctor. Don't worry. And you hold on to it and you hand it right over to the doctor. What I did to grease the skids is I sent it up in advance using dry ice so that I wouldn't have to carry it all over New York City with me. But it's a great way to get the head of any appointment that you want except motor vehicles. They could care less. They'll find a way just to confiscate it. But anything else, there's nothing like bringing ice cream.
So what else? What else? Yes. What's that?
The Italian ice, the dipping cabinet to be at 16. What about the difference between ice cream and gelato?
Oh, okay. Not much difference there. Again, who you're talking to. See, the Italians, they all wear white coats and a toque, a hat, and it's like that picture over there. The vest is folded down like that. And they're all carrying around a spectrograph to analyze God knows what. And they're very hoi polloi about it. You know, we are very low polloi, if there is such a thing. Ice cream, by the federal government standards, is anything that is 10% fat or milk fat or higher. And we don't call it milk fat, we call it butter fat. So anything that's 10% higher is ice cream. Anything below that, there is no standard for. The old term when I was growing up, you know, back in the Stone Age, was ice milk. You'll never hear the term ice milk. It just sounds awful. So they have terms like gelato and yogurt and things like that. Ice cream is milk, cream, sugar, skim milk. Gelato is milk, cream, sugar, skim milk. The difference is we're making, what are we making? We're making maple walnut, Oreo cookie, Cookie Monster, Superman. These are American flavors. The Italians are making tiramisu, Fruta di Bosco, Cuyo di Ruga, and biscotti. Well, I know what biscotti is, which is all fine and good, but you know, even the experts like Malcolm Stogo, who specializes in the United States in gelato, says gelato is pretty much dead. And I know some of you out there don't want to hear this, but you know, we're here to get you into business, not to have you fail. And there's a couple of things wrong with gelato. The main one is a mother walks in, and your biggest age group now, which we're going to talk about later, is the millennials. There are 85 million millennials between 21 and 39 years old. They're starting to have children. So the millennial mother walks in, she has her 5-year-old daughter in tow, and her mother is pulling on her skirt saying, can I please have a hazelnut gelato? Or can I have a tiramisu? No, that's not happening. They're saying, can I have Moose Tracks? Can I have Superman? Can I have Oreo cookie? This is what Americans buy. I don't care how much you want to talk about how great gelato is. It is great. It's European. It doesn't sell here. Now, would I have it in an ice cream parlor if I had an ice cream parlor? Probably yes. I'd probably have about 4 or 5 flavors of gelato because there's enough people who like it and they're going to say, oh, that's wonderful, along with my ice cream and my Italian ice. That's the way I set things up. My theory is, if you go to Brooks Brothers and they sell blue suits, that's great. But if they only sell blue suits, they don't sell brown suits or seersuckers or cardigans, you know, I'm sorry, go away. We don't sell brown suits. We only sell blue suits. How can you run a business that's that narrow cast? So the idea of gelato, 3 of us walk in, I want pistachio, Jeff wants chocolate chip cookie, and the third person wants raspberry cherry Italian ice, the server is very quietly saying to us, to the other two people, go away. We don't have anything for you. We only sell gelato. So from not is it a great product or what's in it or it's healthier or this and that, strictly from a business standpoint. We're here to make money. My business card on the back says my goal is to make money and have fun doing it. And I do both. But our goal is to make money, not to promote to the public what we think they should be eating. We've got to sell them what the public wants. And if every third person walks in and says, oh, you don't have hazelnut, and walks out, you can be darn sure tomorrow I'll have hazelnut gelato on the menu. But it is still milk, cream, sugar, skim milk. The only difference is theirs is below 10% fat, and we're at 10% and above. They're using exotic Italian flavorings, and we're using just standard stuff from the supermarket. So I didn't plan to go down that road, but it's a very significant thing because I don't want to see people go out of business. And if you open up a men's clothing shop and only sell blue suits, I can guarantee you'll be out of business. It's not enough of a broad spectrum. Jeff's business is different if you've been up there. He's unique to the whole world in what he sells, and you'd have to go see it.
How many times have you been there?
None.
Ah, okay. Just
I'll get there.
Just checking.
It's on my bucket list.
It's on
And I got a big bucket. What I often recommend to people, because 15 years ago, you could go into a bank and you could say, hey, I need $100,000 to open up an ice cream parlor. They'd say, great, fine, here, sign here. Would you like a house with that? We'll give you a nice mortgage. Nowadays, with this thing called Dodd-Frank, which has been in existence for about 8 years, there was a banker on Fox Business the other day, and he was actually an honest banker. He said, if you come in and ask for $30,000 for a home loan, we're not going to give it to you. Not because your credit score isn't 810, not because we don't like you, not because the property is valuable. The paperwork with the federal government is so onerous that a $30,000 loan doesn't pay for us. So what I've done with that in mind is I'm dealing with a lot of people who don't have a huge figure to open up an ice cream parlor. That's why I developed the CB350, so that you could get into the business and work the machine to death. We literally have people running them 24 hours a day. And and you can run at 18, you can run at 15. If you're running anything 15 hours a day, you're making a lot of money. And so at some point in time, you've got enough cash in the bank that you just say, I haven't seen my wife in 3 weeks. I haven't gotten out of here on a day off because I'm so successful. I'm going to graduate up to a bigger machine and cut my freezing time. Not the freezing time, but the batch size. I'm going to make it 4 times bigger. By the way, how did your business start?
What do you mean?
How did you start getting into business? Did you start with a 24 quart?
6 quart.
Yeah.
Year and a half.
And then what happened? You made so much money?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. That you wanted some time off, so you graduated up to that.
No, I have less time off now than I ever did.
Because you're so successful.
Well.
But at first you bought this because that's what you could afford.
Right.
And that's the whole idea.
But that's fine.
It is
That's
fine. Jeff's concepts of how to get into business are extremely sound. And if you had to boil it down to one statement, it would be spend as little money as possible and work your equipment to death and yourself. You're a new entrepreneur. It's your business. You're not reporting to a boss. If you got to get in there and unlock the building and mop the floors, be happy you're doing it because it's your business. It matters. And then as you make more money, well, then you can stay home and start talking to suppliers or doing whatever you need to do for a couple hours and let someone else open up the building. It'll all come gradually. But the old days of, we're just going to put up a $250,000 ice cream parlor and hope that people come, those days are gone. I was speaking to a lady this morning. She bought a continuous freezer.
You weren't really talking to her this morning, Ray. That's like a story.
Huh?
Good.
I'll quit. All right. Because your product's ready. He sneaked it out of us.
Snuck it.
Snuck it.
Okay, this is, you can come up and have some if you want.
I want to try it.
By the way, all our homemade ice creams, ices, sherbets, sorbets, they're all pretty bland because we don't add extra coloring to it. This is pineapple, and of course we could add a nice yellow to it and make it appealing visually. But why?
So they're bland in looks, not
Yeah,
taste.
they're bland in looks.
They're outrageous in taste.
Okay, let's have some, if you want. What's that? No. No. There's no using the same bowl. Throw your old bowl away.
And
Save money, that's part of the business, no?
Yeah, but he pays for the bowls, I don't.
You just using a 10% mix?
yes,
And is that what you typically use, or you just keep costs down? Or
that's what I use in Florida.
you don't use a 14 or 16, or just stick with the 10%?
I use 14 or 16 anywhere else. I'll mention that next because that's important. Jeff, that's great. What are you calling this?
I don't know. Pineapple sherbet.
Okay. So I'll tell Crystal.
I'm ready to buy a machine.
Well, thank you. Good.
This is good. This is good, try it.
Sure.
Well, Jeff is working on a very sound premise, and that is nobody ever walked out of an ice cream parlor and said, oh, gee, that's the best butterfat I ever ate. Or, oh man, I'm in love with his air content. People eat flavor. And Jeff uses a lot of flavor, so you don't eat a pale pink ice cream. If he hands you a pale pink ice cream, you don't say, that's delicious, what is it? And you can't tell if it's raspberry or strawberry. You know it's raspberry. People, no matter what, people eat flavor. That's what it's all about. It comes down to being that simple. Use a lot of good flavor, you'll have a great ice cream.
A lot of people